Hi, how are you doing? This is IBM-i By Doing. Welcome to IBM-i By Doing, a series of video sessions in which we do hands-on projects programming the IBM-i Midrange computer. I'm Madhu Vasudevan with over 20 years of IBM-i work experience at your service. The target audience is newbie programmers who want to learn RPG-4 or RPG ILE on IBM-i. We will mount our RPG bikes right on top of the Subfile hill and slide down the valley of data file processing in RPG-4 ILE. Just follow along. Working along with me, you will be able to do this. Early in this series, we will tackle the fabled RPG subfile, and we will create every possible variation of the subfile. We will create physical files, logical files, display files, printer files, and of course the RPG ILE programs to handle all these files. We will create some information display screens, some data entry screens, and generate some reports. Welcome to this session on RPG-4 ILE programming. In this virtual life on the cloud, you are a crossing guard with the Hogsmeade Railroad Station. Besides escorting newbie schoolers to the Hogwarts School of Magic, you have to build the computer interface for Muggle parents who want the train departure information at Hogwarts.com. In this magical concoction, we will brew a potion to create a logical file, to access trains information city-wise, create a display file with a subfile for inquiring on the train's information by showing a request screen, create an inquiry load all subfile program to pull up the train's information by inputting the city name, run the inquiry subfile program for a specific city or for all cities, and query the train's physical file to verify inquiry program output. Our subfile inquiry program will allow Muggles to look up multiple train records in one screen. The search screen will accept a center name as input. After entering a center name, the Muggle will press the enter key. Our program will pull up all the records of trains going to that center. If the Muggle hits the enter key without inputting a center name, our program will pull up all the records of all the trains going to all the centers sorted alphabetically. This process can be continued as long as user wants. Finally, F3 may be pressed to quit the inquiry program and end the inquiry session. The city-wise trains information may be viewed by directly querying the physical file. We will run the query command on the physical file train set with the record select parameter set to view the records for specific centers. We will thus verify that our inquiry subfile is indeed working correctly. To keep me motivated to produce more of such high-quality free content, please subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button below, leave a comment or two, and share this video with your colleagues, friends, and other IBM-i enthusiasts. Hit the bell icon below to actively follow along with the rest of our series. Having created the logical file to access train information city-wise, let's create a display file with a subfile for inquiring on the train's information. Note the message in the bottom. PDM says that you have created a source code member called train Q1 in the source physical file qdds-src in your project library. To edit the display file member train Q1 in SDA, that is the screen design aid, against the member name, key in a 17 and hit enter. Inside SDA, in the Work with Display Records screen, note that the 4 record formats that we keyed in SEU are listed. Let's look at the design image screens of each of these record formats. Key in a 12 against the inquiry record format CNTR INQ and hit enter. Press F12 to return to the display records screen. Key in a 12 against the subfile record format SFL TRAN and hit enter. Before the first O in the first row of the W days column, key in a less than symbol and press enter. You have graphically shifted the W days column 1 space to the left. Move cursor to the attribute byte of the start time column. Key in a star and hit enter. In the select field keywords screen, on top, note the attributes of the start time field. Against editing keywords, key in a Y and hit enter. Note the edit word specified for the start time subfile column. Press F12 and F12 once again to return to the display records screen. Press F12 a few times till you return to the display records screen. Note the message image updated for record SFL TRAN. Key in a 12 against the subfile control record format CTL TRAN and hit enter. The subfile control record and the subfile record are always shown together. Press F12 to return to the display records screen. Key in a 12 against the footer record format footer and hit enter. Press F12 to return to the display records screen and press F3 to exit SDA. For save DDS source, key in a Y, but for create display file, key in N for no and hit enter. Note the message source was saved in member train Q1 and press enter. Browse the member train Q1 by keying in a 5 and hit enter. Scroll up and see that SDA has added some comments in the modified record format. Press F3 to exit SEU. You have to compile this member to create the display file object called train Q1, which will be opened by the RPG program to present the screen interface to the user. To compile this member, train Q1, into a display file of the same name, type 14 against the member and hit enter. The create display file command compiles the source member and creates the display file object of the same name in your current library, which is your project library. You should see the file created success message in the bottom. Press F3 a few times till you're back in the main menu. Check on your display file. Key in the command dsplib space your project library and hit enter. You should see the display file object train Q1. F3 out of the display. Let's examine the newly created display file object. Key in the command display file description dspfd space your project library / train Q1 and hit enter. Scroll up. Note the record formats listed. Press F3 to exit the display. Let's examine the fields in the newly created display file object. Key in the command display file field description dspffd space your project library /trainq1 and hit enter. Scroll up beyond the record format name and note the field names, attributes, lengths, and positions. Note the separate indicator area reserved for the indicators. Press F3 to exit the display. Having created a display file with a subfile for inquiring on the train's information, let's create an inquiry load all subfile program. We will key in the RPG4 program in the modern free format using a more modern editor than SEU and minimize the IBMi client emulator window. We will use Visual Studio Code to write and compile our RPG4 subfile program. Again, Visual Studio Code is a freely downloadable application, and the link to download Visual Studio Code is in this video's description. Having downloaded and installed Visual Studio Code, launch the application. In the left bar, click on the IBMi icon. In the left panel, under IBMi servers, the PUB400 server should be listed. If you don't see it, review our data entry subfile program video. A link to our RPG4 playlist is available in this video's description. Click on the PUB400 server. In the bottom right, view the message connected to pub400.com and close the pop-up. In the left pane, under User Library List, ensure that your project library is on the very top. You can change the current library and ensure that your project library is the current library. In the left pane, under Object Browser, click on the arrow next to the filter to expand it. Under QRPGLE SRC, you can see your existing program source code members. To the right of QRPGLE SRC, click on the Create Member icon. In the pop-up window on top, key in your load all inquiry subfile program name, train sfl1.rpgle, where RPGLE is the source member type, and hit enter. In the bottom right, open the pop-up message. Note the creation of source member train sfl1 in source physical file QRPGLE SRC in your project library, and source member train sfl1 is open in Visual Studio Editor window. Having created a display file with a subfile for inquiring on the train's information, let's create an inquiry load all subfile program. To keep me motivated to produce more of such high quality free content, please subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button below, leave a comment or two, and share this video with your colleagues, friends, and other IBMi enthusiasts. Hit the bell icon below to actively follow along with the rest of our series.